Hey guys, welcome back to the Ride Waxing channel. We are on another familiar board, actually a family board of that Burton Custom, and if you haven't checked that video, go across, hit that subscribe, hit that like, have a quick look on my channel. I've done that a couple of times, and I've also done this one. This is a ROXY Alley. It's got the Burton Scribe bindings on it. Lovely board. I remember doing some topped coat detailing, as I like to do with the epoxy. It's got a lovely front nose kicker. It must be quite a nice board to ride in the powder, and the lady absolutely loves this board, and they are very fortunate to be hitting the slopes over New Year, so that is cool. But yes, we have got some quite heavy corrosion on these rails, so possibly it's been sat in a wet bag, maybe, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it is. They are quite bad, so I'm going to pop in my hand, have a quick detailed look at this ROXY Alley. So here we are, one ROXY Alley, and that's the rails. They are quite savage, to be honest. I'm hoping they haven't damaged the rail too much. There's quite a bit of pitting, especially on that one just there. It's quite deep, which is a shame. But yeah, they are not good. But I'm looking forward to before and after. This rail doesn't seem so bad at this end, but it does in this end. And again, guys, if you are putting your bag away or your board away, what I tend to do is lay a towel in the bottom of my bag, an old towel, and then put the board on top of the towel. And that way, then, if there is any moisture, it'll absorb into the towel and evaporate. Your board's not sat in the puddle because obviously the bags are quite waterproof. But other than that, really, it's the rails. It's a bit dull, and obviously if you do go across my channel and check it out, obviously we'll get the colour back in. This came up quite well last time, so I'm quite looking forward to doing this bad boy again. And the reason for doing it again and again and again is you can see it changes every single time. So we've got rust this time. We didn't have that rust last time. But we're going to detail this board. I'm going to pop you on the stand. I'm going to take these bindings out and have a quick look. I'll tell you what I will quickly do. Let's just pop these open so you know exactly what the settings are. There we go. So what have we got on this one here? So this, I would say this is a 7. So we're on that cog just there. So we're just before the 9. We're at 7. And the reason for doing this is because if these ever did need to be come off and you had to transfer these bindings to another board, you know exactly where you sit with that one. So just one notch before the 9 on the back foot, and on the front foot we're talking one notch before the 18. So there you go. Just try and clean that up. There's the arrow, just there, look. So there we go, and the bolt pattern is pretty much bang in the middle. So there we are, guys. That is the bindings and the board. Nice bindings, I will say, and new stomp pad, I think, as well, which is cool. The kick on that, that's mad, man. Right, anyway, I'm waffling on. Let's pop you in the stand and let's crack on with this ROXY Alley. And just another quickly top tip, and I've said this in multiple videos, if you're going to store the board over the winter period, just take a screwdriver, 2 turns on each screw, 1, 2, 1, 2, and especially if you've got a nice new board, it just takes the strength of pulling on those riv nuts that are actually in the board, those capsulated nuts, causing any depressions in the base of the board, and it doesn't hurt. So just crank them off a couple of times. I'm going to obviously undo these anyway, but that way then it's another top tip, because obviously what you don't want to do is damage your board. And if you're storing this board somewhere hot and cold, with the difference in temperature, it contracts and obviously expands, and it can cause slight depressions. I did that on a Jones board of mine, left the bindings on too tight, stored it in the loft, put out in the sun. We had an amazing summer, and yeah, had 4 indentations on each foot. It's not a major problem, but again, like I say, if you look after your stuff, it looks after you, and then you don't need to replace it, because this stuff is not cheap. But what I will do is I will always Loctite these in with some blue Loctite when putting them back in the board, so the screws themselves don't come undone when riding. But most stations, at the top of most chair lifts, there is always a tool station. So if you go snowboarding or skiing for the first time, normally at the top of any gondola or chairlift, there is a screwdriver set, ratchet set, that kind of stuff, pliers. They always are tethered to the building because people would steal them. So you can tighten this kind of stuff up. So don't forget, if you ever do need that kind of stuff, then obviously that's a place you need to go. Let's pop you on time lapse. Let's crack on with this board. Right, so I'm going to pop on the screen now just by using my camera. Obviously that rust which we did have on the board. I'm also going to stick on the screen what it looks like now. So we've done quite a few passes with the base bevel, sharpening that up to 0.75 degrees. So we had that triangle, and this is just from the first pass just here, and you can see we've got the majority off. We've still got to sort out the base material and clean that up, but just the first pass, so it's not as bad, but it is taking a fair bit of work. We just got to keep dialing this in, and that's all the way down that rail. So there'll be quite a bit of corrosion on there. We'll obviously have to clean the base material, but you can see there is quite a marked improvement there, which is good, and I'm really chuffed with that, because obviously with rust on rails, once it dissolves into that metal and it removes it, you can't put it back in. Base material I can add back in, P-Tex I can add back in, but I can't add this metal in, and this is what holds you on the mountain, so that's kind of like crucial. So that's the reason why I like making these nice and sharp, and I like looking after them, because ultimately once they're knackered, your board's knackered. Well, it's not really, but you just got a nice spinning board as you go down the mountain. But anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. We've got the other side to do, so I'm going to quickly do a couple more passes on this just to kind of dial it in, and then we'll get on to the other side, and then we'll work on the side edge, and then we'll work on the base of the board. Let's crack on. Right, so this ROXY Alley is fresh out of the hot room, and that wax is set a treat. But before we do anything else, we put that ceramic coating on top. We've given the top coat a polish, and now we're going to buff it off. So we need a little bit of moisture, not much, just to help the cloth move across. We're going to grab a nice clean microfiber towel, and we're going to buff like anything, and you'll see that shine come up. Look at that. Now you don't need to do this per se, but I like to do this. It's really hard stuff this is to get off, because ultimately the snow should hit that and then dissipate, and it will reduce the weight of the board. Obviously, especially when you're in powder, you want it to cut. Powder's quite great, but obviously it can start to bog down. And obviously, if you want to jib out of it and just jump and stuff, it somewhat holds you in a little bit. So, my thinking, and I do it to my board, polish a top coat, the snow then just literally will just fly straight off of it, creating the board to be lighter. It means you can then float better, and then obviously you can pop a few more jumps and a few more airs, and basically have a lot more fun. Especially if you want to pop a little jump, you've got a lot of snow on your board, and if you suffer with bad knees like I do, then obviously it adds that little bit more pressure. Yeah, this has come up lovely. Oh, nice and smooth. That's come up fantastic. So there we go. We marked those bindings so we know where they fit. We've polished underneath them. This board is ready. All we've got to do now is take the wax off. So I think it's time for some tunes. Let's put some music on and let's crack on and get this thing shiny. Ooh. So there we are, one Roxy Alley brought back to life, and I think you'll agree it's come up superbly well. Check out the shine on the bottom of that board. That word get my teeth back in. That word Roxy really does pop. It looks lovely, and obviously we've cleaned that top coat as well and polished that up, and that just looks superb as well. And yeah, we've liquid Teflon the rails so that it shouldn't go rusty now. But obviously, again, that top tip, just put a towel in the bottom of your board bag, put your board back on top of it, because obviously the water does pool off and come off your bindings, and obviously it will sit in there and it will just corrode away. It has created a fair bit of pitting just in one area, and there's a little bit just there, but it won't affect the performance. They are lovely and sharp, and yeah, this board is ready to fly. I'm really happy with this, and they're going to have awesome time over New Year in the Austrian Alps. Jealous or not? I think I am. So guys, there we go. One awesome Roxy Alley done in the Ride Right Waxing Workshop. Go across to the channel, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends. But until next time, we will see you soon.